Hi, Kamil.
Hi, Wojtek.
So we have the basics, we know what we need, and we've chosen technology. I guess now it's time for some interface design.
You need to select the interface that you want. Yes, if you don't know which interface do you want, then then please contact us. Our expert will be happy to discuss this with you. It really depends on a system that you want to implement behind, or we can build a system for you, either on STM32 or like IMX or something like that, more powerful platforms.
And some strategies for optimizing display performance. Are there ways to tweak the display?
Knowing the operation and the application and the power supply you mentioned is also very important. So we need to know early, will it be like constant power, which is a default mode that you have the main power supply, because most devices are always connected to the grid. But maybe it's a battery. So if it's a battery-powered device, then the approach will be a little bit different. And from the beginning, we'll need to focus on all the aspects, regarding the power consumption, typically of the TFT. Most importantly, backlight. You can play with all of that components to lower the power down, and you can play also with the modes, because maybe if it's battery-powered device, maybe you can switch off the screen and then just keep the touchscreen running. So of course we need to understand that, but this all comes from the application, the use case.
And how about hardware integration and software?
So all the low-level software and firmware drivers are available from our GitHub, so you can download them, and that, let's say, make sure that the display will run on your system, or will help you to integrate the drivers and set the proper timings, etc. Yes, but then if we speak about higher level, like a user application, the GUI interface, it really depends on the system that you will build, you will use. If you will use Linux-based system or Windows, there are plenty of graphic libraries that and probably the graphic designers and the programmers, they know how to build. If you will choose the STM32 embedded displays, more like embedded approach, then we have a TouchGFX graphic library already integrated. We have LVGL already certified and integrated, and there are more libraries to come. So maybe we'll add someday Embedded Wizard. For sure, we work already on the Qt MCU. This will be popular.
And what comes next? Is it maybe testing when you have ready-made device or some prototype? How does it look?
I mean, if you mean like testing for emission or certification, yes. So we need some kind of prototype. We pre-test our displays, so most of our displays are tested, environmentally tested. So in terms of temperature, moisture, humidity, and basic operation, of course, we test that. But we also test in terms of electromagnetic emission and immunity. So that's already tested, and the report should be on the website. If there is not, please ask us, we'll provide you. And when you build the entire device, then of course you need to test again the entire device to prove it, especially if it's a medical device or something like that. But if you want to test the display performance, the best way is to go to riverdi.com website and select some standard product. If it's not the HDMI display, which I recommend to buy first, because you can plug and play it to any PC, then if you choose embedded display, then it's a good way to buy the accessories, like I said, add-on boards, evaluation board, that will help you to run the display immediately, so you will be able to test and its performance.
It's good for prototyping, and that will increase your time to market.
Standard product is always best way to start.
Now let's think about optimizing for mass production and scaling up. How does it work?
If you have a mass production shortly or ready, then we can talk about cost optimization. We can even customize a standard product. So some customers decide for a standard product, but then when they go into the mass production, we discuss, okay, what do you not use from our display? Because when you select even If4 intelligent display or maybe STM32, they are equipped with pretty much everything. So every interface is there, every memory, etc. And maybe you don't need that much resources. So when you want to buy 1,000 or thousands of displays later, it's good to contact us and discuss which parts do you not need. Maybe some connectors, interfaces, like I said, memories. Then we can take it out from the PCB and cut down the cost.
Okay, so you are pretty much flexible in the area.
Yes, and it's super good, yes, because lowering the cost, it's good always for the customer, which is good for us.
How about resources and things like supply chain or logistics processes? How do you cope with that in Riverdi?
It's a good question. And in Riverdi, if you will see our mission, we are a customer-centric company. So we build our values around what is actually a value for a customer. From a customer point of view, we try to be very helpful. We have a lot of direct customers that work with us on the yearly contracts or even longer contracts. What does it mean? That means we'll help them with the logistics. You can order from us 1,000 displays or 10,000 displays, and we'll give you the price from this amount, but you can actually receive 100 display per month or 1,000 display per month or something like that. Anything, it could be set with our team every 3 months. Maybe you want a shipment. So we will buy all the materials, we will manufacture, or we'll be manufacturing, closer to your shipments, but we will secure the price and we'll secure the stocks for you and for free actually. Yes. So later you just receive on demand when you actually need the displays.
Okay, so also pretty flexible solution.
Yes, we know that this is the demand from the customers, so we are onto that as well.
And how about supply chains and thing that is called on-time delivery? I guess that's pretty important factor in cost effectiveness.
Yes, on-time delivery is super important for us, and we measure this like many other parameters in the company. Our company is pretty well, let's say, measured inside every process. So on-time delivery, yes, we have 90, maybe 7%, 98% right now, which is, I would say, pretty high for a display market, which have a lot of fluctuations in supply and demand. But because we have our own warehouses and our warehouses are in Europe, actually in the same location when we have factory, we have huge stock on the materials and we can plan in advance. So we are pretty much always on time with the customers.
Could you walk us through some best practices and maybe some common mistakes during the process?
Sure, we have many cases. So first of all, I would see that the customers make a mistake to buying any display at the beginning. So let's say they have an idea of a device. They say, I would like to build this kind of, let's say, beauty device or maybe vending machine or something, and they say, I need a display for that. And they buy any display from the market. They focus typically on the system and the machine, which is good. And then they try to connect the display and say, even if they are successful with the mostly weak documentation, even if it works somehow, they go into, let's say, next step. And let's say the product is successful. So the prototype is successful. And then they want to go into the mass production. And they say, okay, now let's focus on a display. Maybe we both bought a display that was not perfect for a design, but because we needed some display first.
What do you mean not perfect for design?
Maybe the brightness was not enough and we need to go outdoor. Or maybe the controller was the touch controller was consumer grade controller. It cannot work with the thicker glass or gloves, or you will not be able maybe to pass the certification.
Or it was too expensive maybe for mass production.
Or maybe it could be very expensive. Something that we just got from the market. Typically the customers buy the cheapest on the market to just start the project, and they think, okay, later will be the time, so when we will go into the production we will solve the problems. But actually when the design embedded system, it's pretty closed system, so when you design with some display, later it's a little bit harder to change and costly. So the typical mistake is to just select any display and then put this problem, let's say, for later to improve it.
Okay, so taking out some component later in the process is actually time consuming.
Yeah, of course, it's hard because you need to often redesign maybe the connector, the part of the firmware, a lot of things, or some mechanical parts as well. Yes. So I would say the best practice on the other side is to put the display as an important part from the beginning, and select the right company, partner, manufacturer, and the right display to not change it later, because later there will be no time, so you will avoid a lot of cost.
Some other common pitfalls there?
Maybe selecting any display that you even cannot run, so that's also often a mistake. So the customer select any display thinking, oh, I will make it run somehow, and then they spend weeks without a success, and they contact us and say, can you help me to run the display? But it's typically not our display, so we may not be able to help. So it's better to find a display that is really well documented, that have the examples, maybe firmware and software examples. I mean, also how to use it, like hardware and software examples.
So they want to save some time by selecting random display, and they go with trouble of implementing it and running it.
Yes, or the customers try to do something that is too complicated for them, and they sometimes spend months. We have cases like that, real cases, when they say, let's say, find our company later and they say, oh my God, I'm doing this 6 months. I'm trying to design the STM32 microcontroller board driving the display, but I'm still failing, yes, because it's like many layers and pretty complicated driving board. And we have it ready.
It's always good to look for some expertise and experts in the field.
Yes, I would first, try and contact the company and think, do I work with the experts? Is it like a high quality and the documentation and everything is there? Or is it like some random display?
And how about some best practices?
The best things to do is to check as many things as possible, like in any system design. But as I said, most of our customers, they are engineers, system integrators, etc. They focus more on a system side, not maybe on a display. They are not display experts. So the best practice is to contact the company that can help you with that. Yes, I would really recommend that, because when you are an inventor of a device, you sometimes think that, oh, this device will be perfect because it's doing this or that process. But actually it's important, but later how you will interact with the device will be as much as important as the process itself. Let's say you build a coffee machine and you think, oh, the coffee machine, the most important is how the coffee will be brewed. Of course, you need to make a perfect coffee and the process is important here. If you are good at that, then maybe you will be successful. But if you were not focused enough on the display side, then the overall user experience will be low. Yeah? So we often judge the device by how the display was on the device. If the touch is not working perfectly, then we think that the device is a low quality device. Or sometimes if it's not working, if you select the display that maybe fail often, then the entire machine is like rubbish.
You may say that display represents the device.
Exactly, it represents the device.
Yeah.
Yes. So through the display we judge so it's really, really important to select high brightness display with the perfect colors that will be perfectly seen, and then entire device will be more value for the customer.
It's always good to turn to experts. And what steps should I do when I want to find some experts?
So the best way is to go to riverdi.com website and contact us through the contact form.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.